Before we get started on this video, we have a very special message for all the scammers of the world. What's going on, everybody? Mr. Triad here. Today I'm going to talk about scammers, scams, all sorts of things that are like scam related. Basically, there was a new type of scam that was identified the last few days, and it actually impacted a bunch of people on my Discord server. So they asked that I make a video, and I've decided, you know what, finally it is the time. I want to talk about scams in general. Actually, I had like this whole agenda, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the different types of scams, all the ones that I could think of. I made this list. We're going to go through it item by item. Second off, we're going to talk about how to avoid scams. Third off, we're going to talk about what to do if you're scammed. And last but not least, I think that I came up with a way, something that Psyonix can add into the game, which can stop like 99% of all scams forever if they just make this one change. And I'm going to make a post about it on Reddit, and I'm going to need all of your help to go on there and like leave your feedback on that post, so that way hopefully they'll implement this change and we can just stop scamming today. Now, as you listen to the video, if I miss anything, especially like the types of scams or any tools to prevent it or etc., if I did miss anything, please go down in the comments below and let us know. I'll try to pin like the best one, especially like if there's a lot of information in there. Or if you have a personal story about how scamming has impacted you or affected you, please feel free to leave that down in the comments below. I really like to hear back from the community. And you guys tell me all the time, and again, that's kind of why I'm making this video. All right, so let's start by talking about the new scam that I just heard about the last couple of days. It's basically a malicious link. All right, and what it is, it's a fake trading website. They send out this link to you, and you log in with your Steam credentials, and it looks really legitimate, except for one tiny little thing that people miss. It basically says this is not affiliated with Steam in any way, shape, or form, but everything else looks like it's legitimate. Like someone spent a lot of time and energy making this website, and it's already impacted a bunch of people. I did a poll on my Discord server today to see how many people were impacted, and I think it was like 124 people said they weren't, and then I think 17 said that they were. So, and from my knowledge, it's just started like this week. So apparently it's doing a good job. So hopefully you guys can help spread awareness by sharing this video to your friends and family, stuff like that. So hopefully we can nip this thing in the butt today. But if you ever find a website that asks you to log in to Steam or PlayStation or anything else, and it doesn't actually have Steam.com or Sony.us or whatever in the URL, then it's not legitimate, okay? Or if it just looks like it could be legitimate, but you're not 100% sure, just ask somebody. Ask your parents, ask your friends, ask me, ask anybody on my staff, and just double check to make sure. All right, next up we have fake middlemen and fake Discord servers, like fake trading Discord servers. The two primary Discord servers for trading are discord.gg/trade and discord.gg/tradecentral. Both of those links are in the description below. Also, you can go to my Discord server. That link's in the description below as well for any type of trading. Or if you go to another trading Discord and you're just not sure if it's legitimate or not, please go to my Discord. You can ask me, you can ask any of my staff, and we'll let you know if it's a fake Discord or not. But the way this works is, especially the most notorious one called Game Planet, the way this works is they have basically a Discord server. It looks very legitimate. They have like a list of middlemen on the right, and they do like this whole thing where it's like they do a middleman call. The person shows up. He pretends like he doesn't know anybody. He asks for the items. He takes your items. He takes the other guy's items, and then he just walks away, keeps it all, right? Then the other guy who brought you to the fake Discord, they split the profit, 50-50 or whatever, and then you got scammed. You get kicked out of the party. You get banned, not banned. You get blocked on Steam. You get banned from the Discord server, and you're gone forever. Your item's gone forever. There's no way to get it back. And this is probably the most common scam that I hear about this happening. So just don't ever use a fake middleman. You know, again, just double check before you trade, or just stick with the ones that you know, discord.gg/trade and discord.gg/trade-central. Next up, we have impersonators. So it's kind of funny because I play a lot of Rocket League, especially like 1v1s like you see right here in this replay. But I get a lot of people who are like, oh, you're not the real tryhard. You can't be the real tryhard. You're fake. And I'm like, nah, dude, I am. Like, no one would ever fake me. I'm too old and uninterested to be fake. But no, seriously, all jokes aside, like scammers do impersonate YouTubers. They do impersonate pro players. And they'll use the perceived trust that's implicit with that kind of community figure to take advantage of people, and they'll scam them. So they'll say something like, hey, I need to borrow an item for a video that I'm going to make, and I'll give you like this massive shout out or whatever. But if you're a YouTuber, first off, you're not going to be asking random fans for items. You're already going to have all this planned out. Like me, for example, I have a whole team of traders. You know, I have a Discord server full of people who I've known for months, like ever since I started my channel. You know, people that I trust and they trust me and stuff like that. So if a fake YouTuber or a pro player is asking you to borrow items, it's not legitimate. All right, guys, so I invited the lovely Mrs. Tryhard to demonstrate some more techniques. Do you want to, sorry, how did I cut you off?
I just waved.
Okay. Anyways, so we're going to demonstrate another technique of scamming. It's item swapping. So the way this works, you get invited to a trade, and let's say it's like a white Indo, for example, and I'm not really a scammer, so you know I might not do this very well, but let's say that I'm trading my white Indo for one of her items, you know, something, I don't know, but more than likely this will be like a trade that's too good to be true. Okay, so it'll be she's giving me an item of lesser value than a white Indo. But basically what they're going to do is they're going to try to distract you, okay? So they put the item in here, she checks it out, it's definitely a white Indo, right? And then you see, like, for some reason they just keep like, you know, swapping it out. You know, like what they're doing here is like distracting you, right? So they'll either like swap it out and then put a different one in there. So there's the unpainted, but they did it so fast that like, you know, let's see what I can do here. It's like hit it a bunch of times and then bam. And then you just don't recognize it, right? Or it's like, okay, I have the white Indo. You need to add more items, right? And then so she's getting ready to type a message like, what the hell are you talking about? We never agreed to that. And then during that time, swap it out. It's distracting the other person, right? Okay, so then the other way to swap it out would be like, okay, here's the white Indo. See, it's hard for me because I have all these other cards. Like, the scammer wouldn't have every painted iteration. Okay, but okay, so they have their white Indo, then they swap it out, and then they quickly like start adding other stuff. Okay, and they're like, hey, I have all this other junk too. You can have it. I don't really need it. And then you're like, oh wow, deal of the century. I'm getting all this free stuff. Let me accept. All you have to do is just take a step back, look at the item again. Double check before you ever hit accept. This is really easy to avoid, guys. It happens a lot, though.
I have this song in my head. Relax. Don't do it.
There you go. Take your time, okay? So that's item swapping. So again, the only person who can stop this is you, right? And another thing you do is kind of like record every transaction. So if you do get scammed, you have the evidence to report later. Okay, and then the last thing is borrowing. So, you know, if you watch my social experiment videos, I go to people and say, hey, you know, I have this 20XX here. You know, you wanna try this on and see what you think, but you got to give it back afterwards. And they say, yeah, of course I'll give it back. And then they bounce out, you know, like, and keep it. But see, the thing is, I do it for like entertainment and like it's a social experiment, so I want to test people. But in real life, this happens. People, like, I hear stories from my fans where their friends borrowed an item or two or whatever and then refused to give them back, blocked them immediately, and they're just gone forever. So just don't lend your items. Plain and simple. It's not worth it. You just never know, okay? And if you do lend it, just go in it with the idea that you might not ever get it back. Just like lending money to family, you know? You probably won't get it back, so don't ever expect that, you know? If you're okay with disappearing, then fine, you know. Now the next thing's technically not a scam. I got a whole bunch of crap for this, but if you watch my first social experiment with the white zombas, it was, will people tell me how much they're worth, or will they just like try to like pay me almost nothing? Well, a lot of people try to get away with murder on that one and give me almost nothing. But basically, this isn't a scam. It's called sharking. It's very scummy. But if someone is offering you like a low value, you might not know because you might not know what it's worth or whatever. So like, let's say for example, you just unboxed white zombas, okay? Today they're worth like 170 keys, 180 keys, something like that. They've been going down a little bit, but it's worth a lot, right? So if you didn't know how much they're worth, then, you know, my wife could offer me like Crimson Apex, for example, you know, and then I just think those wheels look cool, and so I'll do the trade. Well, guess what? She just made like 150 bucks, right? Or yeah, offer me 2 items, or maybe some black market decals, you know, whatever is interesting to me. What you can do here is go to rl.insider.gg. It's a really, really nice website. It's from Sajuk's price spreadsheet. It's updated in real time. It has like graphs and stuff like that. It's really good. Go on there first, check the prices, make sure that you're getting a fair deal when you're doing your trades. And that's it, guys. You have to do this before every trade. Otherwise, you're kind of responsible for not knowing what your items are actually worth, right? Now, next up, I want to talk about how you can avoid scams. The first thing that I would recommend that you do is to check the scammer list. And a lot of people don't even know this exists, right? But if you check the scammer list before every trade, and there's actually a tool that you can use that will search, like if you're on rocket-lead.com, it'll actually search the person you're trading with when you open up their Steam profile, and it'll tell you if they're a known scammer or not. But if you don't have that tool, you can just go to the Rocket League scammer database, and it's linked down in the description below, and check that before every trade to see if they are a known scammer. Now, the next thing you can do is exactly what I just told you in the last tip when we were talking about, you know, prices and stuff like that. Make sure you check the price list before every transaction, because prices change and you never know. Check it right before so you can see what the latest numbers are, so that you don't get taken advantage of. Now, what did we talk about earlier? Double check your items. Every trade, double check the items. Make sure that it's actually the item you're supposed to be getting. Do not rush it, especially if it sounds too good to be true. The reason why is they're probably trying to trick you. They're trying to distract you. So before you hit that accept button, double check the item. If you hit accept, they hit accept, and then they hit cancel, double check it again. Check it every single time before you hit the accept button. Make sure that the item is right. Hit show details, hover over the item, and then just double check it. If you ever have a trade that's over 50 keys, go use the middleman. We talked about this earlier. Discord.gg/trade, Discord.gg/trade central. Both those places are very trusted. They have official middlemen that you can trade with. That will make sure that you actually get your items that you were promised, or that you have promised that the other person will get them as well. So use those two places to find trusted middlemen, and do that for every trade that's like over 50 keys, or if you're doing like a cash trade or whatever, to make sure that you don't get scammed. Now, what do you do if you get scammed? I get a lot of people who come to me, they don't even know, they think that Psyonix might be able to return the item, they think that I might be able to expose the person, get the item back. I hate to tell you, neither of those things will happen. Psyonix will not do anything about it at all. At all, zero. So don't even try, it's not worth your time. There's nothing that I can do about it either. Even if I expose them, they don't care. They're scammers. They're there to profit off of your unfortunate loss, and they will actually probably laugh about it because they think that's kind of funny. I've actually talked to scammers, and they're kind of pathetic. They don't realize that, or they lie to themselves, and they just don't care what they've done to anybody else. They're very selfish people and just total crap. So that's not going to help either. So what you can do is you want to make sure that you record your trades, because if someone does scam you, if they do swap an item or anything else like that, if you recorded it, you can submit that evidence to the scammer list and get that person added. I mean, if you checked them and they weren't on there already, then this could hopefully help prevent them from scamming somebody else by you getting the put on there. So not much help for you, unfortunately, but you might be able to help somebody else. Now, the very last item, and I'm kind of excited to talk about this because I think that I came up with a way that can prevent scamming completely. Now, obviously, like the prices of stuff like that are always going to change, so that won't necessarily be impacted with this. But I put a lot of thought into what can Psyonix do inside of the game itself to stop people from getting scammed. And the idea I had came up with was a trade cooldown period, okay? And I was thinking, why is there a cooldown period for when you buy keys? And I think the reason why is because they don't want to get scammed from PayPal or from bank transactions, right? If you put money in from a bank and it gets pulled out, or a credit card or whatever, I'm guessing that's why they have the 7-day cooldown, is because they don't want the bank to take the funds, and then you've already traded the item away to somebody else, so they have no way to reclaim that. So if they did the same thing with trades and added a cooldown period to where you could revert the trade afterwards, think about all the scams. If someone swaps an item, if someone borrows an item, if someone impersonates or anything, right, you will always have the ability to revert the trade back. Now the question is, how long should that cooldown period be for? And I put a lot of thought into this as well, because obviously traders aren't going to like it if it takes like a day to cool down or something like that. So I was thinking, like, to prevent the majority of scams and also be convenient for traders, I was thinking like a 15-minute cooldown period would be enough time, because you could go, you did the trade, go double check, equip your item, whatever it is, you know, maybe restart the game or something, double check that it is the right item, and then if it's not, then just go revert the trade. And 15 minutes should be plenty of time to do that, right? But I'm really curious to get you guys' feedback. Like, what do you think? Is 15 minutes enough, or should it be something else? Anyways, guys, that's the end of this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope that this was good information for you. And you know, please leave your feedback below and tell me what you think, and tell me your stories and everything else. Guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this helped. I'll talk to you later.